And now for a look at the situation in Eswatini. Now, the Swaziland Solidarity Network is alleging that Eswatini King Mswati III has sourced assistance from the Army of Equatorial Guinea to deal with the deteriorating situation in the kingdom. It says that foreign soldiers are using live ammunition to shoot at pro-democracy protesters, and this has led to the deaths of at least 7 people. Videos of security forces and police shooting at protesters are also making the rounds on social media, and the protesters are calling for democratic reforms and the release of 2 arrested members of parliament. So for more on the latest situation in Eswatini, we are joined on the line now by PUDEMO President Mlungisi Makhanya. Mlungisi, good morning. Thanks so much for speaking to us.
Good morning, Sakina, and good morning to the viewers.
Mlungisi, as you know, it has been quite difficult to get a handle for foreign journalists on what is actually going on in Eswatini, given some of the crackdowns that have been put in place. So please explain to us, as we wake up this morning, what is currently the situation as you are in Manzini?
The situation, it is very, very tense, Sakina. Our people are being brutalized. Our people have been shot with live ammunition. Overnight, the soldiers and the police were going door to door, including in residences of healthcare workers, assaulting and harassing our people. You will remember, Sakina, that I think the last time me and you had an interview, it was after this king had procured for himself and his wives Rolls Royces and a number of luxury vehicles. I remember at the time, you raised the issue of showing disrespect to the king, and I said, how are we expected to respect a king who is so insensitive to the plight of his people? Few months later, we're talking about a man who has killed over 100 Swazis, who has shot and jailed a lot of Swazis, and I'm wondering if you still believe such a man is worth of respect.
So, and I think context is important here, Mlungisi. That was a question around people who felt that, you know, because he is the king, he did basically need to be respected as such. But the developments as they are unfolding at the moment, you're talking about, you know, at least 100 people who may have been killed. Would this be from the protests, the riots that we saw earlier on in the year around June up until now? Because again, as I said at the onset, so difficult for us outside of Eswatini to actually gauge what is going on there.
You are absolutely correct, Sakina, and I was not in any way laying any blame on you. What I was trying to simply demonstrate here is that one of the reasons it is difficult even for yourselves and other international journalists, even local ones, to get information is precisely because this murderous regime is making sure that the world does not get to see what is happening. As we are having this interview, internet has been shut down since yesterday at around 10 a.m. after they started shooting at our people. And that's what makes it very difficult, because when we tell our people and the rest of the world what is happening in Swaziland, it becomes unbelievable. This is a small country with a small population who are related, we know each other, and it is unbelievable that these soldiers and police that are killing people at the instruction of Mswati, they are killing their own sisters and brothers. It is an extremely depressing situation.
And, you know, from some of the videos that we saw yesterday, Mlungisi, that are doing the rounds on social media, and maybe before we get to the videos doing the rounds, the shutting down of the internet in Swaziland, of course, that in itself is a talking point, because it's also meant to basically suppress the dissemination of information. So speak to us about that situation, and of course the king's eldest daughter also heading up this particular sector.
Yes, I mean, over and above what we have just lucidly stated, Sakina, is the fact that when they shut the internet down in June, we approached the courts because we wanted to get a clear order from the court that would have prevented the shutting down again of the internet. But the court up to date, despite that we had filed that application under the certificate of agency, it has still not delivered any verdict, precisely because Mswati appoints the judges, he controls the judiciary. We are on our own, and it is for this reason that we are appealing to the people of the region, the people of the continent, and the people of the world to please not forget the people of Swaziland. Swaziland matter too, and we continue to call upon SADC, and in particular South Africa under the leadership of President Ramaphosa, to please take decisive steps. It can't be that they continue to look the other way, where so many Swazis are being killed and so many of them have had to be amputated because they're being shot at by Mswati's security forces.
So President Ramaphosa, and we've just been running this story this morning, has now appointed a special envoy to Swaziland. Is that enough, do you think? Is that the sort of action that you would like to see?
It's definitely a welcome move, but I'm not sure if we can say it's enough. Remember, Sakina, when over 80 people were killed in June, early July, the then chairperson of SADC also sent a delegation here. And we have never seen the report. The biggest political movement in this country was never seen because Mswati said we are a proscribed organization at PUDEMO. We can only hope that this time around, the delegation that will be coming will do things differently. But I think up to now, what is clear and apparent to us, the oppressed people of Swaziland, is that we are on our own, and if anything is going to happen, it is going to be through our efforts in the main. We are extremely disappointed and saddened by, in particular, South Africa, because we strongly believe South Africa holds the key in terms of what would happen in Swaziland. But also we have a history with South Africa where many of our families accommodated, housed, and helped the operatives of the liberation movement in South Africa during the 30 years of apartheid. But we understand that if Swaziland is to change, we are the ones who must do it, and who are determined and committed to do exactly that.
Mlungisi, when you say South Africa should do more, what exactly would you like to see South Africa do as PUDEMO?
Well, as PUDEMO, we are clear that, one, South Africa is by far our largest trading partner. Secondly, most of Mswati's stolen resources and his enablers, because it's not just Mswati alone. There are a lot of enablers who make it possible for Mswati to continue to do what he's doing, fleecing the Swazi economy. They hide their money amongst other countries, the stolen funds amongst other countries in South Africa. He holds a significant investment in a lot of areas in South Africa. His children, his relatives, are studying in South Africa. If South Africa were to agree to say it will consider imposing targeted sanctions on the king and those who are responsible for the killings of innocent Swazis, if South Africa is to say we will not continue with SACU as usual when the SACU resources are used to procure arms from Israel, Taiwan, and Russia that are used to kill the Swaziland people, Swaziland will change tomorrow. So we think that South Africa can assist us, in particular because we are the biggest consumer of our sugar, which is our biggest export here in Swaziland. And we think that there are a lot of leverage points that South Africa could consider using.
And just finally, Mlungisi, there are, of course, reports, at least the Swaziland Solidarity Network are alleging that the king has sourced assistance from the Equatorial Guinea's army. So in that regard, are you aware of any foreign security forces currently operating in Eswatini?
Yes, we are aware, Sakina. How this started is that Equatorial Guinea would send police cadets and army cadets under so-called military training exchange between Swaziland and Equatorial Guinea. And it has been going on for some time now. But what's changed this time around is that the close protesting service for the king, after leading to the June uprising, he then replaced the locals with a significant cohort of those from Equatorial Guinea. Our people were giving us reports that among the soldiers that were shooting them in June and July were people who can't speak the local language. And it was apparent to us that those were the forces from Equatorial Guinea, and our own sources who are in the military and the police have also confirmed things. So yes, there are some Equatorial Guinea forces who are providing protection to Mswati, but also who are at the forefront of the attack together with some Swazi soldiers and police of our people.
Well, just finally, the king said he will not be engaging with people who are high on dacha and drunkards. So what is the way forward in terms of the dialogue that is being sought with the king?
Well, that was quite a very disturbing and frankly annoying thing, because it was not the first time that the king has uttered those words and speaks so disparagingly and paternalistically about the people of Swaziland. He has done it before, but we think this time around he has clearly crossed the line. One that we can say is that the mistake he made, he thinks that the dialogue we are calling for is a dialogue with him. It is not a dialogue with him. It is a dialogue amongst us as the Swazi people who map a few countries for ourselves. We don't think that it's fit for us even to have a dialogue with him. We are talking about a man here whose hands are dripping with blood of over 100 people who have been killed. Many Swazis are languishing in jail. As recent as yesterday, young learners were appearing at the High Court in Swaziland, charged with treason and other very serious crimes for allegedly burning of a police station. This is the state of affairs in Swaziland. Swaziland will move into a democratic dispensation with or without the king.
Well, we'll leave it there for the right now. Thanks so much for your time this morning. And that was Mlungisi Makhanya, the president of PUDEMO.